Scripture reading this morning is Luke 16, 1 through 13, the Voice translation. Here's a parable Jesus told the disciples. Once there was a rich and powerful man who had an asset manager. One day the man received word that his asset manager had squandered his assets. The rich man brought in the asset manager and said, "You've been accused of wrongdoing. I want a full and accurate accounting of all your financial transactions because you are really close to being fired." The manager said to himself, "Oh no, now what am I going to do? I'm going to lose my job here and I'm too weak to dig dishes and too proud to beg. I have an idea. This plan will mean that I have a lot of hospitable friends when I get fired." So the asset manager set up appointments with each person who owed his master money. He said to the first debtor, "How much do you owe to my boss?" The debtor replied, 100 barrels of oil. The manager said, "I'm discounting your bill by half. Just write down 50 on your contract." Then he said to the second debtor, "How much do you owe?" And this fellow said, 100 bales of wheat. The manager said, "I'm discounting your debt by 20%. Just write down 80 bales on the contract." When the manager's boss realized what he had done, he congratulated him for at least being clever. That's how it is. Those tuned to this evil age are more clever in dealing with their affairs than the enlightened are in dealing with their affairs. Learn from some lessons from this crooked but clever asset manager. Realize that the purpose of money is to strengthen friendships, to provide opportunities for being generous and kind. Eventually, money will be useless to you. But if you use it generously to serve others, you will be welcomed joyfully into your eternal destination. If you're faithful in small-scale matters, you'll be faithful with far bigger responsibilities. If you're crooked in small responsibilities, you'll be no different in bigger things. If you can't even handle a small thing like money, who's going to entrust you with spiritual riches that really matter? If you don't manage well someone else's assets that are entrusted to you, who's going to give over to you important spiritual and personal responsibilities to manage? Imagine you're a servant and you have two masters giving you orders. What are you going to do when they have conflicting demands? You can't serve both. So you'll either hate the first and love the second, or you faithfully serve the first and despise the second. One master is God, the other is money. You can't serve them both.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So, I need my 3 volunteers from last week to please come up. Now, for those of you who weren't here last week, I asked for 3 volunteers, and while I had some crickets that actually said anything, I cried some arms and persuaded some people to finally take my challenge. Here, I'll get this out of the way. I don't want to block Diane. So, anywho, finally I had these 3 suckers to take my challenge. And I gave them each $5, right? Each of you got $5. And I trusted my $5 to each one of them, and I said, do something with it, right?
Right.
And so this is a follow-up to last Sunday to find out what they did with my $5. Cindy, do you have my $5?
No.
Cindy, we're not off to a good start.
That's why I couldn't stand over there.
What happened to my $5?
When I sent another check into the Community Foundation of Grundy County for Coal City disaster, I slid it in the envelope.
So you gave it to Community Foundation of Grundy County. All right. We'll let it slide. Greg, do you have my $5?
No. But I have something for
Honey?
you, though.
We're gonna have to cancel lunch. All right, Greg, so what did you do with my $5?
Well, I bought you lottery tickets, so hopefully you're right. I'll you do a lot more. I invested your $5.
By the way, I didn't tell them anything to do with my $5. This is all new.
By the way, here's a quarter on top of that. It's just you an opening your present.
Thanks. Sure. Diana, faithful, trusting, sweet Diana. Yes, there are a faithful few. Still, oh, $61. Wow. You see? How did you come up with $61 extra dollars? At a bake sale.
Yes. And some of our people helped out.
There you go.
Stuff.
There you go. All right. Well, I tell you what.
Lunch is back.
Cindy? Yeah, lunch is back. Cindy, since you gave away $5, you get $5 in it. Greg? Greg, since you bought me lottery tickets, which have a greater chance of me, you invested, you get $5. Thanks. And Diana, sweet, precious Diana. Since you sold all sorts of goodies and brought me an envelope full of cash, you get $20. There we go. Give our volunteers a... So, you never know what's going to happen around here. So, here we go. We are going to talk about money. Everybody say money? Money. And I know everybody gets real excited. Like, all right, week number 3 of money. Right? Yeah. Everybody's like, PT, why do we got to talk about money again? Didn't you cover it already in the first 2 weeks? Like, don't we have all our bases covered? Is it really worth talking about for another week? And the reality is, it is. Money is one of those things that drives a lot of people. Money is one of those things that directs a lot of people's ways. Money is one of those things that determines what you do, right? If you don't have any cash, you're probably not going to go out to eat, right? If you don't have any cash, you're probably not going to go to a movie, or you're not going to go out anywhere, really. And so money is one of those things that affects people emotionally. If you don't have any money, it's kind of a bummer, right? You can get by, you can be happy. I'm not saying that's impossible without money, but you know how it is. You look in and moths fly out, right? It's kind of a moment. So we're going to talk about money. And more importantly, last week I told you to honor the Lord with your wealth, right? Honor God with your wealth. And I said that I would tell you how to do that this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch briefly on the text that Kay read, which is Luke chapter 16. Then I'm going to dive into some very practical things that we can do with our money that will be honoring and pleasing to God. Okay? Does that make sense? And we should be out of here. Now, Luke chapter 16. If you have a Bible, say yes.
Yes.
Say. Now turn to Luke chapter 16. Luke is in the New Testament. It's the third gospel. And actually, Luke chapter 16 follows Luke chapter 15. Master's degree at work here, folks. Okay? Luke chapter 16 is right after Luke chapter 15. That's important because in Luke chapter 15, you might know, is the parable of the lost coin, the parable of the lost sheep, and the parable of the lost son, or the prodigal son. How many have ever heard the story of the prodigal son? Right, most of you, because I preached on it about a month and a half ago. Now, that story, the parable of the prodigal son, which we're very familiar with, you know, a young guy takes his father's wealth, runs off, squanders it on wild living, whatever that means, comes back, begs for mercy, the father gives him grace and accepts him back into his house. That story precedes this one in Luke chapter 16. And I'm going to read from the Voice translation just because some of the other translations use words like shrewd that we don't use a whole lot in today's English, and I don't want us to get caught up in words that we don't really know what they mean. Okay? Luke chapter 16, here's the parable that Jesus tells. It says, once there was a rich and powerful man who had an asset manager. One day, the man received word that his asset manager was squandering his assets. The rich man brought in the asset manager and said, you've been accused of wrongdoing. I want a full and accurate accounting of all your financial transactions because you are really close to being fired. The manager said to himself, oh no. As you would say to yourself when somebody says you're about to be fired, right? Nobody jumps up and down excited about that. Everybody usually says, oh no. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to lose my job here. I'm too weak to dig ditches, too proud to beg. I have an idea. This plan will mean that I have a lot of hospitable friends when I get fired. Now, what's interesting is there's nothing wrong with this guy. Okay? Nothing physically. He's just been accused of dishonest management. Now, here's the thing. He was going to lose his job and be out on the streets, right? Well, society of that time, you had to be like physically disabled in order to be accepted as a beggar. So if you weren't physically crippled or handicapped, you weren't technically allowed to beg. So it wasn't just that he was too proud to beg, it meant he was too healthy. He's too healthy to beg. And he's too weak to dig ditches. Some of us just don't have the ability. So the asset manager set up appointments with each person who owed his master money. This is genius. He said to the first debtor, how much money do you owe my boss? And the debtor replied, 100 barrels of oil. Okay. The manager said, I'm discounting your bill by half, just write 50 on this contract. How many would like their mortgage just cut in half? Like that. Yeah. Then he said to the second debtor, how much do you owe? This fellow said, 100 bales of wheat. The manager said, I've discounted your debt by 20%. Just write down 80 bales on this contract. How many would like their car payment just hacked off 20% off the top? When the manager's boss realized what he had done, he congratulated him for at least being clever. That's how it is. Those who attune to this evil age are more clever in dealing with their affairs than the enlightened are in dealing with theirs. Now, maybe you're reading through this passage or you're hearing this passage for the first time and you think this master should really sue the guy or attack him or something. Because think about how much money the master lost when this manager comes along and he says, your bill's cut in half and your bill's dropped 20%. I mean, that's a fair amount of money that was owed to the master that now he's not going to get. Now, have you ever gotten a really good deal? Like maybe you go to the store or something, you're buying something and it's a buy one, get one, and you weren't expecting that. You go and there's 40% off. I like to go to Kohl's because I might spend a bunch there, but when I get done, they circle how much I saved, and so I leave coming out a winner. It's incredible. Sir, you spent $137, but you saved $13. Victory, right? And here's the thing. It wasn't as if the manager or the master could go back to these people who owe him money and say, hey, wait a minute, I need that other 50 gallons of oil. Or, hey, wait a minute, I need those other 20 bales of hay. He couldn't just go back and say, I need more money. It doesn't work that way, right? The master would be forced to just kind of accept it. He would be forced to just endure whatever was going on. Now, this whole situation actually inspires the people. Imagine this, okay? You go to Kohl's, just because I used it as an example. You go to Kohl's, you spend money, they end up telling you save money, you go home all excited, right? And then you get a phone call. Hello? Yes, this is Frank from Kohl's Management. Hi, Frank. Yeah, it's come to our attention you saved $13 today. Yes, I did. I'm going to need that back. Frank, that's not how it works, right? You wouldn't be able to go back and ask for that money in return. But what would happen is, those people who owed money would go home saying, boy, that guy that I owed money to, he just cut my bill in half like that. I didn't even ask for it. He called me up, said I need to come, and he just cut my bill in half. And so they would go home and they'd throw this party. How many of you seen the insurance commercial where the lady's like thinking about buying a bag? She's looking at it, she's like, oh gosh, I don't know. And she calls up her State Farm agent, like a good neighbor. State Farm is there. Hi, Karen. Hi, how much did I save? Well, you saved this much. Oh, okay. And she takes her bag and she goes on her merry little way. These people would have been the same way. How much did I save? Oh, I saved a bunch. And so they would go home, get their families all together, and they would celebrate the generosity of the master. Which actually is a positive thing. It enhances his reputation, his character in the community. So you can see the pickle that this master is in. Here he has this dishonest asset manager. We don't know exactly what he's done. And the asset manager is very clever in this way. He makes himself look good. He also makes the master look good. So that when he loses his job, everybody else is going to go, boy, I mean, he was good to me. And the master can't even say anything because it's brilliant. If he fires the guy, then he looks like he's harsh for no reason. Hurts his reputation. If he keeps him, well, he's dishonest. And so the master applauds this dishonest guy, not for his dishonesty, but for taking advantage of the opportunity that's in front of him, making the most of it. And Jesus says, the people of this world are more clever in dealing with their stuff, dealing with their money, watching their own assets. I had to be sure to enunciate there. Than followers of Jesus, followers of the light, than Christians are in managing theirs. Translation? People who aren't Christians care more about money than Christians care about everything else. So, here we are talking about money, and Jesus finishes up this parable here. And he says, if you're faithful in small-scale matters, you'll be faithful with far bigger responsibilities. If you're crooked in small responsibilities, you'll be no different in bigger things. So essentially, handle the little stuff, you'll be trusted with more. And then he says, imagine you're a servant and you have two masters giving you orders. What are you going to do when they have conflicting demands? You can't serve both. The masters are God and money. They will drive you to different places. Now, money is a tool. Everybody say tool?
Tool.
I am. Say, money is a tool. It's something to be used, right? It's something that can be used to glorify God. Just like up here, right? Again, I didn't instruct these three to do anything, but they knew if they came back with like, I don't know, a half-eaten candy bar and 2 gallons of something I can't say, then they would probably not be looked on favorably, right? And so they give the money away, they do this different stuff, and then they honored God with their money. They used it as a tool. And even when it was returned to them, they in turn gave it back to be used in a way that would honor Him. So today we're going to talk about how to honor God with our wealth. Everybody still with me? All right, before we do that though, I need to teach you a dance. It's called Give, Share, Save, Spend, or Give, Share, Spend, Save dance. Okay? Spin, save. Okay? You don't even have to get up for this dance, right? So here we go. Left hand first, all right? Give, share, spend, save. Gotta do jazz hands when you okay? So here we go. Give, share, spend, save. Give, share, spend, save. All right. Dancing in Park Street Church. All right. So it's really, really simple. Okay, there are 4 steps that I'm going to teach you today on how to honor God with your money. And the first is give. Everybody say give?
Give.
Give. And there's a question that goes along with it. The question is, am I thankful? That's really what giving comes down to. Am I thankful? Am I thankful? Imagine this. You go to somebody's birthday party. You have spent all year being friends with this person, loving this person, listening, paying attention to all their interests and likes and dislikes. And so you have picked out the perfect gift. And you know the type of gift I'm talking about. The perfect gift. You had it professionally wrapped. It smells like lavender. It is the perfect gift. You get to the birthday party, and no one else has gotten them a gift. They've just gotten them empty greeting cards. But you have gotten them the perfect gift, one that suits their interests, their hobbies, their personality. And it comes to that time of the party, that awkward time. How many people think that opening gifts part is really awkward? Yeah, I think it's just bizarre. It's like, because sometimes you open it and you're like, oh, thanks everybody. Another sweater, thanks Grandma. You know, sorry. I bought that sweater, I made it myself. You know, it's kind of an awkward time. So you get to the birthday party and you're sitting through the time, and it comes time to open gifts, and they open up your gift. And they're excited for your gift, and they try on your gift right away, and they're just like, this is awesome, this matches my room, and you know, it's just perfect. And then they move on to the greeting cards, and never say thank you. So you go home, a little bummed, right? You spent all this time at the store trying to figure out what to get. Oh, that's it. That's the perfect gift. You paid to have it professionally wrapped. Lavender. No thank you. Month and a half goes by. And it's like 3 in the morning, and your phone buzzes. Pick it up. And it's from this person you gave a gift to. And you got a text message that says TY. That's it. I wonder if God feels the same way. If He has gotten us perfect gifts, and we're so busy enjoying the gifts, and He wants us to enjoy the gifts that we never take the time to say thank you, and when we do, it's the least amount of difficulty, it's the least amount of effort that we can possibly give. Quick message to God. Give. The Bible says to give 10%. And you know, whether you give 10% to the local church, and I would love for you to do that, you can give your money, your time, your wealth other places. Okay? Other opportunities to give and show up to people. So it's not just the tithe, but it's more than that. Look at these verses, and I have them up on the screen because there's a bunch. Proverbs chapter 3:27. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it's in your power to act. When you can do good to help somebody, do it. Very simple. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to act. Look at this one. Proverbs 14:31. Whoever oppresses the poor shows contempt for their maker, but whoever is kind to the needy honors God. So the question is, how do I honor God with my wealth? Be kind to the needy. Last one. Proverbs 19:17. Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they've done. Jesus would later say, if you've ever helped out the sick, those in prison, those hungry, those thirsty, those naked, those in need, essentially, you've helped me. Whoever is kind and poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done. Now, last week, we figured out, we reread the Psalm 24, verse 1. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. How many remember that? Yeah. Okay. Great. Awesome. And so if God owns it all and he is rich, if the entire universe is his, then you know when you pay something to him, if you lend something to him, if you take care of the poor, as it says here, you lend to the Lord, you know God's good for it. Like, you know he's going to pay you back. With interest. That's what that reward talk is. That's above and beyond. He will reward them for what they have done. Give to God, and he'll give it back to you. And so the question is, are you thankful for what has been given to you? Because if you're thankful, then you say thank you. And your giving is a way of saying thank you to God for what he's done. What's interesting is, it doesn't say anything about give as long as you like the pastor. It doesn't say give as long as the church service fits your preferences. It doesn't say give as long as he doesn't preach on money for a third week in a row. It says give to those who are needy, give to those who are poor, give when it's in your power to give, as a way of saying thank you to God. Now, I understand, right? We're all in different places money-wise. Not all of us have the same amount of cash. And that's okay, because you can give things other than money. You don't have to just give money. If you want to give, you want to show love to people, you can give things other than money. It's the idea of taking something that you have and getting rid of it, releasing it to someone else to bless them. Now, there's a guy by the name of Jeremy Cowart who had this feeling that he needed to be able to help people. He wanted to help people somehow. He wanted to give something to them. And if you've ever watched the news, you've ever surfed online, you've ever watched a commercial or read a magazine, you know there are a lot of different ways that you can help people, right? Say yes.
Yes.
There are a lot of different charities out there, thousands and thousands and thousands of charities. So what do? How do you help somebody? And so he didn't really know where to start, but he felt like, you know what, God is calling me to use what I have. It's interesting. Statistics show that people who are richer don't necessarily give a greater percentage of their wealth to charity or nonprofits. It has nothing to do with your financial tax bracket. It has more to do with who you are in here. Jeremy wanted to help, and so he founded an organization, founded a movement called the Help Portrait. Take a look. photography. He takes professional grade portraits for celebrities, famous authors, whomever, musicians. And he decided he was going to take what he had, his photography skills, to bring hope to people, to bring value to people, to show people who are struggling, people who are in need, people who are hurting, that they have value, that they have beauty. And as of the end of 2014, in 2014, they took over 44,000 portraits all over the world, in over 100 different countries. People who had a camera, people who had a phone, people who had anything would snap these pictures to try and bring a smile, to bring light, to bring hope to people. They took what they had. Now that's sharing, which is the second step of our little dance. You remember the little dance, right? Everybody ready? Left hand free. Give, share, spin, sing. Give, share, spin, sing. Right? So, number 2 is sharing. Sharing. Sharing is taking what you have, okay, lending it to somebody, allowing them to use it, allowing them to enjoy it, blessing them in some way. It's still your stuff. You're still going to get it back, okay? But you're sharing it. And the question that goes with this is, what can God use? What can God use? Going home and looking at all our stuff and going, what can God use? What here that I have, my talents, my stuff, my connections, whatever it is, what can God use to bless the world? There's a guy that I'm reading right now, his name is Bob Goff. Everybody say Bob Goff.
Bob Goff.
Goff. That's. I love how many people win. That's awesome. I'm reading a book by Bob called Love Does, and in that book he tells a story. Now, Bob and his wife Maria they live in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, and they have a cabin right off of the lake. All right. So the cabin is right off the lake. There's a walking, jogging, bike path type thing that goes in front of the house. And they often spend their nights sitting out on their back porch watching people, jog past. How many people like to people watch? Any people watchers? Yeah. And so they'll sit there and they'll watch people go past. And one night, along comes this guy, and he's real happy, and they've kind of seen him a couple times. He comes by and he stops and he waves. Now, a lot of people kind of wave, when they see people up on the porch or whatever, but Bob and his wife, they wave back. And this guy is still waving. So they wave back. And so Bob goes down, because this guy's a couple of awkward now, and he said, hi, what can I do? How can I help? What's going on? How's your day? And the guy's real excited. He says, my name's Ryan. And Bob says, hi, Ryan, my name's Bob. And they, make each other's acquaintance or whatever. And Ryan says, my name's Ryan, and I'm in love. And so Bob, he's like, oh, this is good. He says, congratulations. And Ryan says, well, I go past your house every day. And I come jogging, and I walk past, and we really have a nice place here. He says, I want to propose to my girlfriend. Would it be all right if I propose in your backyard? Bob said, in his head, he's thinking, well, this is a little strange, right? He doesn't know this guy. Okay, let's go for it. Sure. And Ryan's like, really? Okay. And so he turns off and skips back down the path where, back to where he came from. A couple days later, Ryan comes back. And Bob goes down off the porch and he goes down to see Ryan. He says, hi, Ryan. What can I do for you? And he said, well, I was just wondering if maybe my girlfriend and I could have dinner on your back porch before I propose to her. I really want to make this special. And Bob's like, boy, this kid's got it bad. Okay, all right, sure, no problem. What are we having? And they kind of joke about him, and Ryan takes off. A couple days later, here comes Ryan. And Bob, he meets him down, before Ryan even sees him come, he meets him down on the walkway. Hi, Ryan. How's it going? Great. I was just wondering, do you think, we're going to have dinner on your back porch? Yeah. I was just wondering, do you think it would be possible for me to have some friends over who would serve the meal to us like a fancy restaurant kind of? Okay, how many are we talking, Ryan? 20? Okay, all right. And so Ryan is so excited, he takes off, and he's just, I don't think his feet even touch the ground. He was just excited. He loves this girl. He wants to go above and beyond for her. Ryan comes back a couple days later, and he doesn't even pause in the walkway. He just comes up to the back porch, because, they know each other now. And he says, Bob, I have a question. Right? We got dinner? Yes. We got both coming? Yes. Friends are going to be here serving? Yes. Do you think we could set some speakers up on your back porch, and then we could have some music and then dancing afterwards, after the meal's over? Okay, sure. And Bob, if you've ever watched Bob speak, he's just this over-the-top bubbly character. So you kind of believe that Bob would do this, and so he said, yeah, sure. Let's go for it. I mean, we're all in now. A couple days go by, no Ryan. A couple more. Bob's starting to get a little worried. He hasn't seen Ryan for a while. And here comes Ryan, and he's a little more hesitant this time. Comes up on the porch, says, hi, Bob. Hi. He said, Bob, do you by chance have a boat? Yeah, Ryan, I do. What do you want? Well, I was just thinking, it would be so magical and so romantic if we proposed out on the lake. If I proposed to her out on the lake, I just think that would be pretty, and the weather's supposed to be nice. Okay, let's go for it. So Ryan, really? Yeah. Okay, so Ryan takes off, and Bob is really excited. Like, he's thinking, okay, I can't let this kid have all the fun. Like, I want to add to this now. It's this great caper, right? We want to get this as big as we can. So the day finally arrives. Ryan brings his nervous girlfriend, and they're walking along the path. She knows nothing. And Ryan just starts walking up to the back porch, and she's like, what are we doing here? Whose house is this? Or is this even okay? And there's the little table with a candle and some, plating and everything set up. And here come their friends with food. There's music softly playing, and they have a great meal. They dance a little bit on the back porch. It's very romantic. And then Ryan takes his girlfriend at the time and leads her down to Bob's dock, and they walk onto the boat, and they get on the lake. She said, what are we doing? Are we even allowed to do this? He says, don't worry, just trust me. So they take the boat out onto the lake, and the stars are out there, and it's beautiful, and eventually he gets down on one knee and he asks her to marry him. She says yes. And they haven't even noticed that Bob has arranged. And when she said yes, they threw on all their lights and fired every water cannon that they had, and it looked like a 4th of July celebration behind the Statue of Liberty. See, love does crazy, radical, audacious things. And when I read through that, it's like, man, Ryan really had it bad, and he loved his fiancée now, loved her undeniably, unbelievably. But Bob also showed incredible, ridiculous, crazy love by sharing, you see where I'm at now? By sharing a lot of what he had, even though he didn't know the guy. We got to share it. Next step. Spend. Give, share, spend, save. Give, share, spend, save, save. Give, share, spend, save, give, share. Spend. Wait a minute, PT. How can I honor the Lord? You're telling me spending is a part of that? Like, rarely will the pastor get up here in a sermon about money and tell you to go spend it. But here it goes. Spend. How can I use this to bring glory to God? If sharing is God bounding down that bicycle path in front of your house and saying, hey, can I borrow this? I need to use it. Then spending is us bounding down the path in front of God's house and going, look what I have. Can you use it? Spending is releasing something, taking ownership of it temporarily, and then saying, okay, God, can you use this? How can you use this? How can I use this to bring glory to God? And there's a few verses, believe it or not. Here we go. Verse number 1, James 1:17. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. I am a firm believer that God invented cinnamon rolls. It's right there. Every good and perfect gift is from above. Heavenly cinnamon rolls. Coming down from the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. I'm a firm believer that God invented the convertible. Because there's just something about going down a highway, sun, breeze. Every good and perfect gift is from above. There is nothing wrong with buying stuff. You heard it here. In fact, if you read through Scripture, Scripture says things about giving the first fruits, tithing on what you have, giving back to God. Remember, we talked about that as a way of saying thank you. It talks about sharing your stuff. The early church, Acts chapter 2 and following, they brought all their stuff together and shared so that nobody was in need. Sharing is good, giving is good, but you also have to eat. Right? You can't go, okay, I'm just going to give it all to God. Like, I'm just going to take all my food in my house and dump it in the food pantry. For one, that would probably overwhelm children. Because then you're going to go back to your house, and around lunchtime, you're going to go, oh, boy, I'm hungry. So it's okay to go out and eat. Just, are you using it to glorify God? Like, are you using that opportunity of a meal to grow closer to your family or friends, to bless a waitress? It's okay to buy stuff as long as your stuff doesn't own you. Like, if you're diving headlong into debt, that's not good. It doesn't help anybody if you can't pay the bills, right? In fact, when you're struggling with debt, you begin to think only about debt, and debt becomes the main drive in your life, and you're just trying to escape that phone call, trying to escape that bill collector. And so it becomes more about self-preservation than God glorification. So, get yourself out of debt, whatever it takes. We just are wrapping up a class called Financial Peace University. We'll wrap that up at the end of this month. And Dave's whole premise, Dave Ramsey's whole premise is get yourself out of debt so that you can live and give like nobody else. And as of tomorrow, my wife and I will be debt-free once the bank starts their business hours. Which is a great thing. Fantastic. No more school loans, no car payments, nothing. Now, we had to say no to some things to make that happen. But now that we've climbed out of that hole, we can actually see all the opportunities that God has laid before us of how we can help and bless and serve and give. Spending is okay as long as it doesn't put you in a hole. So, go out this afternoon, have steak. if you like steak. Take some friends, some family members with you. And thank God for the time that you have. Other verses quickly. Colossians 3:17, whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Paul wrote in Corinthians 10:23, I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. You have the opportunity and the right to spend your money on whatever you want, but not everything is good for you. Right? I can buy a whole box of Dunkin' Donuts and eat them in one sitting, but that's not good for me. And I'll regret that decision. Not everything is constructive. It's not bettering me. If what you're spending your money on is taking you in an opposite direction, if it's not helping you to grow physically, and by grow physically, I don't mean your waistline, okay? If it's not helping you to grow or better yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, then maybe you shouldn't spend your money doing that. Now, just because PT says go spend your money, doesn't mean you should go to Las Vegas, pull up on some scantily clad woman on the street corner, and ask yourself this question. God, what can I use this for to bring you glory? Unless you're leading her to Jesus, you should probably keep driving, right? There are just some things you shouldn't spend money on because they're sinful or they're harmful to you or to other people. Very quickly, Bible Money Matters has 6 questions you can ask yourself as you're going through major spending decisions. Question number 1, do I need it? Is something broken that I'm replacing, or is it, fixing some need? Number 2, have I looked for used options? This is especially big when you're buying a car. Never buy a car new, because as soon as you drive off the lot, it loses value. And in fact, cars lose about 60% of their value in the first 4 years. So the car is worth less than half what you paid for it in 4 years' time. Look for use. Have I saved for it? Again, don't dive into debt just because you want something. How will this affect my budget? What is a budget? We'll talk about that next week. Question number 5. Does this conform to God's Word? Does it fit into Scripture? Right? Would God look down on this spending decision and say, yep, good job? Or would he say, you idiot? Last one. Do I feel conviction about this decision? If you spend some money, a large amount, on something, and then afterwards you're like, oh, I don't think that was a good move. Probably wasn't a good move. That's called buyer's remorse. We want to try and avoid that. By the way, buyer's remorse, that's a common term you guys are familiar with, right? You never hear of giver's remorse. Anyway. All right, so you remember the dance, right? Give, share, spend, save. Give, share, spend, save. So our last step is save. That's right. And the question that goes with it is, am I prepared for emergency or opportunity? Am I prepared for emergency in case something happens I need to, take care of so it doesn't destroy my family? Am I prepared for opportunity? When something comes along, can I help in an extremely radical and generous way? And we'll talk about saving next week and why planning matters. I will leave you with this passage from Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Just lay it over this whole idea of money, this whole idea of giving, sharing, spending, saving, this whole thing. You don't know what to do, how it fits. Proverbs 3, 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. You don't know what to do, don't know how much to give, how little to give, how much to spend, how little to spend, how much to save, how little to save, what you can share. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Let me pray. God, we thank you for today. We thank you for opportunities to bless people. Whether it be through anonymous giving, whether it be through sharing the stuff that you've given to us, whether it be through spending and feeding our family and enjoying our family's company through entertainment, whether it be through taking moments to relax and recognize your greatness through vacations or whatever. God, thank you for those opportunities, and thank you that you have given us the foresight to save. And I pray that you prepare our hearts as we learn this lesson about preparedness and planning next week. Thank you so much, and it's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. Encourage you to go